Hi, seventh grade. In this video we're going to look at student examples of their informational essay on the causes for the fall of the Aztec Empire. On Tuesday we did look at two different students. I think this one was a 9, an 8 or a 9, and this one was a 5. And the biggest issue with this one was the topic sentences. You will get a chance to read your feedback and then edit your responses. But I do want to continue showing you guys some of your peers' responses so you see what the range is, because when you write your graded essay, it's going to be very similar to this. So this one's going to be the first one. These are your classmates. They wrote this, and they wrote these essays with help, right? So that's why this is not graded, because I'm helping you guys a lot, and you're getting a lot of feedback from me and your peers. But the next one you won't get any feedback until I grade it. So let's look at a couple things that pop up on these essays. The first thing that I notice is that they have a title, and that's always positive. The title's great. Now, the title for this one, I would like the title to be more like in the middle, more centered. Okay. From the start, I like that the student indented their work. Again, when I give you your essay, I'm not gonna remind you of this, right? I'm gonna give you a rubric, and you're gonna have to remember to indent. So these are all positives. I should just be using a different color for that. Because they did indent. So positive, 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 positive. Another thing that I noticed here is they do have some transition words. Furthermore, lastly, they don't need a transition word for their first body paragraph, because that's like the beginning of their essay, so they wouldn't say in addition, right? So there's going to be a couple things that I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be looking at your hook. Do you know how the Aztecs fell? This is an okay hook. It's a weak hook. I'm not a big fan of these questions. I'm not sure why this is a weak hook. I'm not sure why there's a period here. There shouldn't be a period there. The Aztecs were a civilization in Central Mexico. It should be capitalized, Central Mexico. There's a space here, I'm not sure why. That was dated back to somewhere around 13 to 1500. What is this? I'm not sure what that is. Looks like a happy face, but I don't know what that is. And that impacts your grade because it shouldn't be there. They were one of the most fearsome ancient civilizations. That's because of their advanced military status and strategizing. The Aztecs were the most powerful Mesoamerican kingdom. This should be capitalized, of all time. I would say they were one of the most powerful. I wouldn't say, because that's like an opinion, right? So be careful with that. It's thought that 15 million people paid tribute to the Emperor Montezuma. The second of Tenochtitlan should be capitalized because it's a proper noun. The capital city. The reason the Aztecs fell is because the Spanish had better weapons, comma, and there's no space there. Diseases killed a lot of Aztecs. They should be capitalized too. And that's the Spanish had alliances. They should be capitalized. So you see all these little red things that I made. Those are all mistakes. Those are all either mistakes with spacing and capitalization. The student has a lot of issues with capitalization. So this is their thesis statement. So their thesis statement is pretty solid. That reason the Aztecs fell. Why can't you say the Aztecs fell? Right? Or the Aztecs were conquered because the Spanish had better weapons. So this is going to be their first topic sentence. Diseases killed lots of the Aztecs, and the Spanish had alliances. So this person has 3 reasons. So the first reason that I'm going to look at is better weapons. Some students, for their first body paragraph, they mention their second reason, so they're kind of out of order, so don't do that. So here they're going to talk about better weapons. The Aztecs had better weapons. The Spanish had better weapons than the Aztecs. Now, the problem with this topic sentence is that, what is the topic? The topic is the conquest, and this person just said this. Okay, so what does that do? The Spanish, so this would have something like, it should have sounded something like this. The Spanish were able to conquer the Aztecs because they had better weapons than the Aztecs, or they had better weapons, period. This person says, I know. I mentioned a million times you cannot do this. You absolutely cannot do this. This is a big problem. Like, we don't need to know that it's you. Like, I know it's not okay. Like, get that in your mind. Get that out of your vocabulary when you're writing an informational essay. You do not say I. You do not say me. I know this because in the article, on the articles, it's called Source 1. This student said, in Source 1 it states, the Spanish possess cannons, guns. There should be a comma here. I mean, there's a comma, but there should be a space. And swords that terrify the American tribes. Now, just because you're terrified doesn't mean you're going to be conquered. This evidence shows that the Spaniards have better weapons because cannons, guns, and swords terrify the American tribes. This means that the American tribes have not seen anything like this. And what is this? So this is really confusing. So there's a couple issues with this one. So their topic sentence is incomplete. They include I. They say in the article source title source 1, that's an issue. And then their evidence is okay, right? Their evidence, they should actually talk about what damage does these weapons do to the Aztecs. Let's keep going. Furthermore, so they do have a transition word, but then they have disease capitalized. Disease killed a lot of Aztecs. Again, the topic sentence is not there, and that is an issue. And I'm not sure how many times I have to like repeat myself for you to get that in your mind that this is an incomplete topic sentence. This should say something like, furthermore, the Europeans or the Spanish conquered the Aztecs because they were dying from diseases. He does it again, I know. I know this because in Article 4, Source 4, it says, why is that, why is this like this? Why is there that's not even a punctuation mark. Standard estimates of the decimation of the American people in the aftermath of Columbus is 85 to 90 decline within 50 years. This is the largest demographic catastrophe in human history. This is an American Holocaust. This is showing how disease killed a lot of Aztecs and how it affected the Aztecs since it decimated 80 to 90% of the American tribes that definitely weakened the Aztecs. This explanation doesn't actually talk about how they were conquered. How does them dying lead to the conquest? Lastly, here we go again, my last reason is that the Spanish made alliances with and weakened the Aztecs. Again, this topic sentence doesn't work. This topic sentence would say something like, the Spanish were able to conquer the Aztecs because they made alliances with people that hated the Aztecs, period. I know. I know this because in the article source 6, why do they keep saying in the article source 6? Why can't you say because in source 6 it states? Even though they met with some resistance for the, what is that? Antinomy? And the Tlaxcalans, this should be capitalized. They all teamed up since they had a common enemy. This shows that alliance helped the Spanish because now that the Tlaxcalans, this is a group of Native Americans, and the Spanish met, they grew stronger. So this is a little better explanation. This is their strongest paragraph so far. The Aztecs fell because of the alliances the Spanish made with local tribes, disease the Spanish brought, and Spanish had better weapons. Their conclusion is okay. It's not the strongest, but it's also not the worst. Now, if I was grading this on grammar and punctuation, so if I was giving on grammar and punctuation, this would be a 1. For the structure of their essay, like I know what they're trying to say, but they're not able to weave the conquest. Like, they never talk about the conquest in these other paragraphs. At best, this will be a 2. And for their evidence and elaboration, it'll also be a 2. So a total of 5. If I was grading this on punctuation and grammar, if I was giving it like a score of like a M, S plus S, S minus N, punctuation and grammar, this will probably be an S. If I was giving it a grade for evidence and elaboration, it would also most likely be an S. And for the first one, it'll be also an S. Now, for elaboration, it'll probably be an S minus because they don't really elaborate. This is a weak essay. And if this is your essay, I want you to understand why it's weak and what are the issues with it. And if your essay looks like this, I also want you to understand why it's weak and what are the issues with it. You will get a chance to like edit your essay. But if you submit an essay like this, that's graded, this is the grade you're gonna get. And if you also do it on the interim, that is the grade you're gonna get. Let's look at this one. Student B, how Cortez defeated the Aztec Empire. I like their title. They're gonna tell you how they defeated the Aztec Empire. Okay. In only 50 years, 50 to 80% of Native Americans died. This is a great hook. Cortez was an ambitious person that wanted power and wealth. For 14 years, he helped other conquistadors named Diego Velázquez conquer Cuba. There's a space there. Cortez heard stories about gold to the west of them. That made him eager to conquer the west. The Aztec emperor was Montezuma. Their empire is. I would have said his empire. His empire was. You're in the past tense. His empire was. And the location of present-day Mexico. Cortez was European. The Aztecs thought he was a god when they arrived. The outnumbered Spanish. I would eliminate this because this is more like evidence, I think. The outnumbered Spanish conquistador, Hernando Cortez, was able to easily defeat the Aztecs because he made alliances with the natives, comma, there's a space here, extra space, had better weapons, and brought diseases that killed many Aztecs. This is a great thesis statement. And now let's look at their first body paragraph. The first reason why Cortez and the Hispanics were able to defeat the Aztecs was because Cortez made alliance with the natives. This is a great topic sentence. Because this student didn't just say he made alliances with the other natives. That's what this student did. The Spanish had better weapons than the Aztecs. That's what this student did here. So because it's unclear what they're saying, this student did it too here. Right. So this is their title. This is their first paragraph, and this is their first topic sentence. The Aztec Empire was a loose union. Cortez formed alliance with the natives. Cortez was able to defeat. Here they did a better job with that one. But you see, I want you to understand, like, these topic sentences they're not, what are you talking about? What are you referring to? If you look at this one, it says the first reason why Cortez and the Hispanics were able to defeat the Aztecs was because he made alliances with the natives. Let's keep looking. According to the article titled Clash of Cultures, so here they tell me the name of the article. Or you can give me the number. Okay, so they cite their sources. The Aztec Empire was a loose union of allies, many of whom resented the Aztecs. This is really important. So the Aztecs have these allies, these people that are supposed to be their friends, but they don't like them. Those friends don't like the Aztecs, right? In the Spanish, they saw their savior, and Cortez used this belief to his benefit. In his final attack of Tenochtitlan, his band of 900 soldiers was joined by as many as 150,000 natives. This is the best evidence you could have picked if you were talking about the allies, Cortez allying himself with people that did not like the Aztecs. This is great evidence. This is important because Cortez was able to grow in numbers. This is beautiful. This essay is amazing. This is important because Cortez was able to grow in numbers by making alliances with other natives that did not like the Aztecs. So this person is explaining right now. The alliances that Cortez made with other natives was crucial because he needed more soldiers if he were to go against the Aztecs. Instead of going to war with only 900 soldiers, he was able to get more help and had 210,000 soldiers. The natives saw Cortez as a savior because someone was going against the Aztecs. The other natives disliked the Aztecs. There's a typo here. I think now this person could have talked about, now it was they were even more evenly matched, right? You have hundreds of thousands of Aztecs versus hundreds of thousands of Spanish and their native allies. So it was a more evenly matched. And this led to the only knock I have with this, the only issue I have with this is that they didn't explain how does this lead to the fall of the empire, right? How does this evidence lead to the fall of the empire? So here this person could have talked about you have all these allies. This makes it much easier for Cortez to be able to actually fight the Aztecs. That's what I wanted to see in this explanation. The second the second reason why the Spanish and Cortez were able to conquer the Aztecs was because he had better weapons. This is their second topic sentence. According to the article titled "Clash of Cultures," I hope that for their third evidence they have a different one. Yeah, they do. Clash of Cultures. Cortez conquers Montezuma and the Aztecs states the Spanish possessed cannons, guns, and swords to terrify the American tribes. Horses, which there's a missing there's a space here there's a space that's missing there, which the Aztecs had never seen, gave the Spaniards greater mobility. Against all this, the Aztecs' primary weapon were wooden clubs studded with glass rocks. This is great evidence. I love this evidence. Now you have to explain it. How does this evidence support the thesis that weapons allowed Cortez to defeat the Aztecs? Let's see what they said. This is significant. I like this sentence starter. This is significant because Cortez had more advanced weapons while the Aztecs had more older weapons that were not as effective. The cannon can hit a group of people from far away. The Aztecs only had sticks with glass like rock on them. This tool is only able to hit one person at a time, and you have to be right in front of them. Also, Cortez had horses which are fast and had much more mobility. Again, they don't really fully explain how does this lead to the fall of the Aztecs. This person could have said, these weapons destroyed the Aztecs, kill many Aztecs, right? The empire that loses, the people that lose the most soldiers tends to be the one that loses. And these weapons tend to create a lot of damage on these soldiers. I like how she explained part of it, but I wish that they had focused on how does having better weapons lead to the fall. The final reason why Cortez and Hispanic soldiers were able to defeat the Aztecs is because they brought diseases that killed many Aztecs. According to the article titled "Rise and Fall of the Aztec Civilization," it states, it was European disease that did him in. Smallpox, measles, and mumps were enough to destroy the local population that lacked immunity to them. In just 1 year, smallpox had annihilated the population of Tenochtitlan by 40%. I like this evidence as well. This is a great piece of evidence. This shows that the Aztecs was not immune to the disease and the Europeans had brought. Many natives died because they did not have a cure for these European diseases. 40% of the population in Tenochtitlan died in a year in smallpox. Many were infected and spread quickly. With the disease going around, the Aztecs were weak. This is good. So many Aztecs died that the numbers of people that were going to fight Cortez was drastically lowered. Here, this person could have continued to elaborate. All these people are dying. Cortez's people, some of them might be dying too, but he has the upper hand, right? He has the upper hand. He sees all these people dying. Like, how does people dying lead to the fall of the Aztecs? Same issue. The outnumbered Spanish conquistador Hernan Cortez. So here they have their thesis statement again. Easily defeat the Aztecs because he made alliances with the natives. Had better weapons, so they restate their thesis statement. Cortez was able to defeat the Aztecs. So they're summarizing their main ideas. The Aztecs were facing a lot of problems because of diseases, and their leader was killed. Cortez won even when outnumbered. So if I was giving this a score, out of 4 for the first one. I forgot what it's called. I know this one. I remember that one, but the second one is evidence and elaboration. Out of 4. Oh, sorry. And then out of 2. This would be out of 2. This would be 2 out of 2. For their structure, this is the structure of their essay. Do they have a thesis statement? Do they have topic sentences? Do they have a good introduction? Do they have a conclusion? I will give this a 4. And then for their evidence, they have really, really good evidence, like solid evidence. And their explanation is not... Their explanations are okay. But remember, if you look at the rubric, you have to... like a 4, and there's a 3, right? So there's like bullet points, and you have to remember, like, did they cite their sources? Yes, they did. Do they have good evidence? Yes, they did. Do they have language that is appropriate for the topic? Yes, they did. And for their explanation, they will get a 3. So overall, they will get a 4. So this is a pretty strong essay. Okay. I don't think I'm gonna. Well, I might do this one too because why not, right? Why Cortez was able to defeat the Aztecs. I'm gonna try to do this one a little faster. Did you know it only took 24 months for Hernando Cortez to conquer the Aztec Empire? That's a good. That's good. I like it. I'm not gonna mark this up. Hernando Cortez was a Spanish explorer and sailed off to Mexico to find gold and to spread Christianity. Cortez managed to kill Montezuma II and conquer the Aztec Empire. Here, the issue I have with this one is that if you're going to talk about Montezuma, you should talk about, well, who is Montezuma? So that's one issue. Hernando Cortez was able to defeat the Aztec Empire because Cortez took advantage of the diseases that the Aztecs had. The Spanish had stronger weapons than the Aztecs, and because Cortez formed alliances. So they have a good thesis. The first reason why Cortez was able to defeat the Aztecs was because Cortez took advantage of the diseases. So here they have a solid thesis statement. During the 16th century, there were many diseases. Columbus had brought smallpox, yellow fever, and etc. all the way from Europe when he came to America. The disease has spread all the way from Mexico to America to Mexico and to other places. They have some context. According to the source titled "American Holocaust," it states. So they give us the evidence, but the evidence doesn't talk about the Aztecs. This shows that because of the illness that the Native Americans had, Cortez took advantage of this and was able to defeat the Aztec Empire more quickly. The illness made the Native Americans weak, which made it easier for Cortez to kill them. This illness also made a decrease in the Aztec population, which made it even easier. So this person actually has a really solid explanation. I wish that... Is the disease here? No. It's here somewhere. So yeah, this evidence, so they both have the same evidence, but this explanation is stronger. This explanation is stronger because they actually talk about how does getting diseases on the empire lead to its collapse. So this I like this this explanation quite a bit. In addition, so they have transition words. In addition to that, the second reason why Cortez was able to defeat the Aztecs was because the Spanish had stronger weapons than the Aztecs. The Aztecs had obsidian, bladed swords, clubs, bows and arrows, and spears and weapons. According to the source called Cortez, Cortez meanwhile used dogs, so they have evidence. Cortez meanwhile used dogs, horses, guns, and cannons, none of which had ever been seen before in the Americas, to surprise and scare the native people. As the Spanish near the Aztec capitals, Cortez learned of an ambush. He quickly struck first, though, and killed thousands of enemy troops. This evidence is incomplete. I don't know why they have some of this stuff here. Like, this is not relevant. Right? You're talking about they have better weapons, but why are you talking about an ambush? Cortez had much stronger weapons than the Aztecs, which made it easier to kill more Aztecs. Therefore, it enabled the Spanish to have higher chances of winning the battle between the Spanish and the Aztecs. The Aztecs' weapons were made from wool, wood, and obsidian. Does this talk? But this student doesn't have that on their evidence. So this one is a weaker paragraph. At last, the last reason why Cortez was able to defeat the Aztecs was because Cortez formed alliances with other tribes. Okay, the Aztecs had many tribes that were against them. The Aztecs would sacrifice prisoners as religious acts. I like this. The prisoners would be foreigners from other tribes like Tarascan Empire. According to the source titled, the name of the source, in his final attack. Okay, so they have the same evidence. And 9 months later, when Cortez returned with a huge army of Spanish and native fighters. They denied Tenochtitlan food. Okay, good. I like this. This evidence is good. The arrival of the Aztecs joined forces with the Spanish, which gave them the rivals extra strength. Cortez then had a huge army and gave him a much better chance of winning the battle between the Aztecs. The natives that were on Cortez's side increased the number of people in his army by a lot. You don't have to capitalize a lot. This gave Cortez even bigger chances of beating the Aztecs. So say that this allowed Cortez to be successful in his defeat of the Aztecs. In conclusion, Cortez, so they have their conclusion. Okay, so if I was giving this a grade for purpose, sorry, let me erase that. For their structure, it will also be a 4. For their evidence and elaboration, it'll also be a 4, and it'll be a 2 for grammar and punctuation. The only issue that I had was this: the evidence is some evidence is incomplete, or some evidence is not relevant. But remember, when we grade, you have to look at the rubric, and this is a 4 and this is a 3. This person has like 2 here and then like 3 here. So if there was another little issue, they might this could be a 4 or a 3. Okay, there's one more that I want to look at. This one's a short one. So whenever I see an essay that looks like this, I know there's going to be problems, right? Or there's going to be an issue, because it's a 5-paragraph essay. And if you remember, the introduction should be about it should be about 7 sentences. And that's the same true for paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4. And paragraph 5 is going to be the shortest, and it might be like 5 sentences. So looking at this is not going to work, right? Because I can tell already that this is an incomplete essay, and you'll see in a second why. There's a title missing title. The Aztecs are estimated to have sacrificed 12,000 people a year. This is a good hook, but it's not really relevant to the topic, I don't think. Instead, they could have talked about how long it took for them, the Cortez, to conquer the Aztecs, how many people died. So it's not the most relevant. And then we have this situation here, right? There's an R, a period, and then there's a C, and there should be a space in between those two. Central Mexico was dominated by the Aztec Empire. I would have liked to know when. The outnumber, so literally they're, let me erase this. So they are lacking a title, which is a problem. Their overview is this: Central Mexico was dominated by the Aztec Empire. That's their overview. Their hook is this. And then the rest of it is their thesis statement. The outnumber Spanish conquistador Cortez. There's a missing space here. Again, another extra, you need an extra space. Was able to easily defeat the Aztec Empire because Cortez had better weapons than the Aztecs. There's a space here. I don't understand why this is such an issue. I know for a fact you can see these, but you still you still do it. The Spanish had allies. Okay, what allies? And then why is this capitalized? The Spanish gave the Aztecs smallpox, which got them sick and died. Okay, so their thesis statement is okay. If I was grading this, just this would be probably like an S. And what makes it an S is because their thesis statement is decent. But their hook is okay, the overview is not okay, and the thesis statement is good. Cortez was able to defeat the Aztecs because he had better weapons. Okay, this is a good topic sentence. Okay. The Spanish had cannons, guns, and swords. Okay. In source 1, it states the Spaniards possessed cannons, guns, and swords to terrify the American tribes. So this is not necessary because that's exactly what you're saying in your evidence. And then you have evidence, but you don't have an explanation. Okay. Okay, I'm confused how to handle that one. Okay, let's look at the next one. The Spanish had allies. Again, no topic sentence. This should say the Spanish were able to defeat the Aztecs because they had Native American allies. That's a problem. It became 900 soldiers turned into 1,500 natives to help that. This is the problem with this is you're plagiarizing. You're just literally copying evidence and you're putting it as your own words. It states in source 1, Hispanophile. So this, I don't know why this person did this. I don't know why you're doing this. The Spanish gave this, again, no topic sentence. Got the Aztecs sick with smallpox and killed some of the Aztecs. And source 1 states, illness spread like wildfire. The outnumbered Spanish conquistadors, Cortez, facing, was able to easily defeat the Aztec Empire because Cortez had better weapons than the Aztecs. The Spanish had allies. The Spanish gave that. So they're just summarizing. So like I said, this one's one that needs a lot of work. if I was grading this on purpose, then there's evidence, and then there's evidence elaboration, and then there's punctuation grammar. So this one out of 4. Out of 4, this one will probably be. I don't have a rubric in front of me. What do you guys think this one is? And then evidence is out of 4, and this one's out of. Let's do the easy one. Punctuation and grammar. There's some issues, but there's not enough issues to like make it a problem. So I think this is a 2. For evidence and elaboration, I will give this a 1. And it's almost a 0 because they plagiarize. They just copy stuff, and you can't do that. This is either a 1 or a 0. You can't just say stuff from the sources and put it in like it's your stuff, because then you actually cite it and you're like, oh yeah, that's the same thing. And purpose and organization, I will give this a 2. This is a 4. If I was grading this for like your regular class, for punctuation, it'll be I'd give it an S plus because there are some issues, but it's not like for evidence and elaboration. If I was just grading that this person cite their source, yes. Does this person have relevant evidence? Kinda. Does this person elaborate? No. This will be this will most likely be an S minus. And structure of the essay, it will also be an S minus most likely. Because did this person really educate? Did the reader really get informed about why the Aztecs fell? There's some things here that you're like, okay, so I guess they made allies and they got sick and they had better weapons, but there's no real explanation of that. So when you're grading these essays, I want you to keep that in mind as well. When you are giving feedback to people, when you're giving feedback to people, when you finish this video, if you have time, please continue giving feedback to people. We're gonna continue doing that. Tell them what they got for organization and purpose, evidence and elaboration, and conventions. Now, where it says, what did they do well? Don't say, oh, you did your evidence well. Well, actually say, what is so good about their evidence? Don't say evidence, right? When you write, what did they do okay? Don't say, explanation. What is okay with the explanation? Why isn't it good, or why isn't it so bad, or it needs work? What does the student need to work on? Don't just say evidence. For example, if I look at this student needs to work on their organization. It's kind of all over the place. Their overview is very minimal. They need to expand it. Their evidence is kind of relevant, but is incomplete, and they have no explanations. And I know that this essay is not graded, but the point of this is for you guys to practice writing and developing your skills. And when you do something like this, I'm like, wait, maybe they just didn't want to do it because it's not graded, or they don't know how to do it. Okay, so when you see something like this, please provide clear feedback. Again, when you finish, if you finish this video and you still have time, I need you to go back and provide feedback to the people that you were assigned. And if you still have time, go back and keep giving feedback to people. It is of utter importance that you provide feedback. And if you have time, you can also read the feedback that you got and begin to edit your essay, because that shows me that you're growing as a writer, right? Because when you write your essay that I'm gonna assess, I'm not gonna be able to tell you, did you indent? Do you have a topic sentence that's clear? Do you have a title? Did you explain your evidence, not just restate your thesis statement or your evidence? Okay. If you finish early, give feedback to as many people as you can, and also read your feedback. If you see something that you disagree with, that's okay. I get feedback that I disagree with sometimes, and I'm okay with it. We need to move on. Okay, I'll see you guys later.